It started where Himnophis said at the beginning of the Nile, but it reached its zenith here. The whole world must look to Egypt. The entire world, bar not a single country. Every high culture must come here for the beginning of what they are. I don't care if it's Jewish, if you're Christian, or you're Muslim, if you're Greek, or you're Roman. You must come here. Here is where it started, along the Nile, and here it reaches zenith. If you're talking about Avram, Abraham, you're talking about Moses, they were here. Moses, they said, was born here in a place called Goshen. Abraham came here and received his education. He had no education before he came here. All of them came here. The whole thing about the 10 Commandments came out of the 42 negative confessions.
Dr. Ben is teaching reverse racism.
They call it what they want. I don't mind what they call it. The fact is, if a teacher come here and prove me wrong, I'll go anywhere they got and show them what they wrote, where it came from, and carry them to where it comes for them to see it. The point is, my evidence still exists. They can't show me Adam and Eve, but I could show them Osiris. This is the temple of Ramesses III and others. But what's unique about this guild is that the oldest flush toilet is still here.
You gotta be kidding.
Yeah.
A flush toilet?
Yes. There was a bucket up here, and they will tilt the bucket when the person is finished. It was also a shower here.
I see.
And then when they tilt the bucket, it would flush the water. As you notice there's a trough.
It's the trough.
This will go down, and there's a hole down there. The water will run out and go into a flush system.
And how old is this?
This goes back at least the 20th dynasty, about 1100 and add before the Common Era, before Christ.
1100 before Christ. Where was Rome at that time?
Didn't exist. 100 years at least before there was a Rome or Greece.
Interesting. Interesting. Now, on the right here, on this wall, which is just off this huge courtyard, the faces look, they don't look African on the right here.
Those are ancient people.
Are these the invaders?
These are the invaders. As a matter of fact...
And they're bearing arms.
Yeah, but they're not the invaders in this particular place because Ramesses went to Asia and fought them. They had invaded before. They're forced back, and now Ramesses pursued them, so that they are fighting now in Asian territory.
All right, but now as you move further to the left, you see that they're actually meeting in combat here.
But then
has a sword.
You notice that the distinct difference in features.
Well, as you move to the left, yes.
Right. You then see where the two combatants meet together. You see one is an Asian and one is an African. You see African with long pleated hair. You notice the face, the facial, the nose and the lips, so you got no doubt.
Yeah. And they're wrestling there?
And they're wrestling, they're fighting. But some are falling, others are standing up. The battle is going on. The Africans fighting for Egypt and the Asians fighting for Persia.
What is the significance of looking at this?
The significance for me in this particular case is to show that there were Africans and the Egyptians were fighting as Africans, and they fought people as Asians.
Now these are awesome obelisks.
Yes.
Which is a Greek name, is it not?
Yes, it means a needle-like pyramid. In fact, you notice on the top, shapes like a pyramid. And that used to be color coated with silver and gold.
Really?
Yes, they call it electron.
Are these two related in any way as far as religion is concerned? Or?
Yes. That one is the column.
The one on the right?
Yes, the obelisk of Makari Hatshepsut. Yes. And this is of her son-in-law, Thutmose III.
the same Hatshepsut queen who we saw.
Right. That's she reigned at 1580 to 1450 something.
Where was this granite brought from?
Aswan, which is about 4.5 hours drive from here, south.
4.5 hours drive?
Yes, by automobile.
And there was no driving in those days?
No, well.
So they brought it up on barge?
It came up on the
Somehow
boats.
they got it out of the quarry.
Out the quarry.
Got it down to the river.
Down to the river.
Put it on a barge that was large enough. This is one piece.
That's
one
right.
Solid
one
piece.
solid monolithic piece.
How much does it weigh, would you say?
Oh, I mean, a few thousand tons.
What does the shape of the obelisk represent?
It represents a tapered penis. Frankly, it goes back to the story of Isis, using the Greek name. Aset would be the Egyptian name. Put in erecting a symbol of her husband's penis, because her husband, Asar, or otherwise called Osiris, was murdered by his brother, Set-Typhon. It was also Aset's brother.
That's that story we saw on the wall.
Right.
With the hippopotamus.
Right. And when he was murdered and cut up into 14 pieces, she went and find the pieces symbolically around the wall, but could not find one piece, the penis, because his brother had thrown that piece in the Nile, and the Nile catfish ate it. So she had them built or cut an obelisk to remind those who had persecuted and murdered him of his penis, so that whenever they go, they'll always have to see his penis.
I see.
You would notice that it's George Washington Memorial in Washington, D.C. is a copy of this.
So what are you saying to me?
That it's a symbol of his penis.
Not George's, but...
George, the President of the United States, the obelisk is symbolic of the penis regardless of who got one. It has one meaning. Now why?
I wonder what George would say.
Well, you know why? Every member of the United States, original Congress, and members of the cabinet of the United States, the first cabinet, was a Mason except one man, Benjamin Franklin, because he was a Quaker.
What does that have to do with what we're talking about?
The symbols they used for setting up the United States was based upon the Masonic order, which they copied from here, the 22 tablets that were stolen from here by England. They used those tablets and used, take for instance...
And is the pyramid included in some,
yes.
The obelisk?
The pyramid and the money, like you said it.
And the obelisk?
The obelisk.
Africans didn't build the temple like this. Here you have the Tekken, or the obelisk of Hatshepsut. That's a very important thing right there, y'all. If you go to any cemetery, you see a whole lot of them. Why? Because it's symbolic of resurrection. 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 I'm gonna mess with y'all now. Resurrection. Rise. Erection. Raise. Erection. Y'all with me, ain't you, y'all? Some of y'all woke up now. That's what this stands for. I don't think I'm playing. Let me show it to you. This is the Ark Manu in the temple, Holy of Holies. We're coming out of there, going to where we had a wedding ceremony. This is where the world's first baptisms took place, not John the Baptist. There was no John the Baptist. They didn't get baptized in the Jordan River or in the chilly Jordan. This is where the world's first baptisms took place. The Kemetic priests were baptized as an initiation into the priesthood. Right here, Sacred Pool of Karnak. That's some deep stuff, y'all, because you see the Tekken here, the obelisk? If you were to stand in the southern position out here and look over the sacred pool, you see it? That's called Washington, D.C.
Right.
There you go. There's the obelisk. We all been thinking that that's George Washington's thing. It ain't about George Washington, they stole it.
Yes.
Copied it. But there's a big feature about this, I'm getting ready to show it to you. There's Hatshepsut's obelisk at the Temple of Karnak. What's so important about this thing? Rise, erection. Yeah, it is, right there. This is the god Menes. As you see, he's in his burial clothes. He's wrapped up as a mummy. He's able to get one arm out, brothers of the craft. You see where they got it from. And you see that he's black. That's black, and that's black. He's a black man. Y'all got me? Oh, yeah. Now y'all see why this is serious. Check this out. That's the National Baptist Convention. Headquarters in Nashville, Tennessee. I bet how many Baptist preachers know why that thing is up there on top of their building. It represents resurrection or rise-erection or the power of life.
Yes.
That's why it's in the cemeteries. To rise from the dead. Look at that. Look at that. Here's where it all started right here. Now, right very quickly, for those who don't know the story, Osiris was killed by his evil brother Set, which became Satan. Y'all with me? Set cut up his body into 14 pieces. His wife, Isis or Aset, went out and found the 13 pieces of her husband's body. She found all the pieces but one, and that's because in the story, Set took that one piece right here and threw it in the Nile, and the crocodiles ate it. So Aset was unable to recover that one piece. So she reconstitutes her husband's body. Y'all got me? Y'all see it back together there? Here's Aset standing over her husband. She's got her hand rubbing his head, giving him life. See, this is the story, y'all, sisters, to let you know how powerful you are. Sisters, you got to touch. That's what this is about. She's got one hand under his head and the other hand rubbing his head. And her energy brings him back to life. He reaches up and he grabs his forehead with one hand and he goes to grab his penis with the other hand so he can make love to his woman. And he realizes that he doesn't have it. So what happens? She says, don't worry about this. I got this. You see here, she transforms herself into a hawk in the form of Horace Hawk. You see the bird? She flies up over and hovers over the part of his body where his penis would be, flapping her wings. And the energy from her wings causes him to ejaculate without a penis. And she receives his sperm into her body as a bird. In the Bible, it's called a dove or the Holy Ghost. The bird becomes pregnant, which represents the Holy Ghost, where they twisted it around and said the Holy Ghost impregnated Mary. Here you have conception without penetration. That's where the Roman Catholic Church copied the story and gave us what is known today as the Immaculate Conception or the virgin birth. Because here she is now pregnant, sitting on the birthing stool, getting ready to give birth to a child that she has in her womb without penetration. But it's the story. You see where they stole the story from? Well, there it is.